Okay, so to find the mean, we add all the data and divide the sum by the number of data points. Add all of the data, add all the data, divide the sum by the number of data points. Okay? What's the median? How do you find the median of a set of data? What do we have to do there? Hannah?
Okay, I could be wrong, but I think it's where you cross up all the numbers and see which one's in the middle, right?
Correct. So the median, but first, before you start crossing things out, you have to make sure the data is in
numerical order.
Yes. Okay. So
I was gonna say alphabetical, but
yeah, I got you. That would be a different order for sure. So median, okay, is to put the data Dylan. Okay, everyone else, thanks. Cut it out. All right, anyway, put the data in numeric order. Okay, find the middle number. Now, what happens if we count down to the middle and there's two numbers that are in the middle? Yep, Scott. Exactly right. If there is two, and I'll put in parentheses here, or in quotes, I mean middle numbers, add them and divide by 2. Okay. If there are two middle numbers, that's not correct grammar I had there. If there are two middle numbers. Okay, if there are two middle numbers, add them and divide by 2. All right. Mode. Then what is the mode? How do we find the mode? Let's say again. Most, yes, yeah. I like to think of it as most often. That way, that helps me remember that mode, because M-O, most often, okay? So it's the data point that occurs most often. Great question. So what if there's one of each number? Do we want to say that the mode is every number in our data set? How many centers of a thing should you normally have? One. Yeah, just one center, right? And so if we see, if every number is unique, if every number occurs once, right, then the mode, you would say there is no mode, okay? Likewise, if you had maybe 3 different modes, you'd pretty much say there is no mode. There are situations where it's helpful to know when something's bimodal. That means there's 2 modes, okay? But in general, you want to just have one center, right? So in general, we do want to have one center here, okay? Now, the last thing here described is range. Range, okay, range is not a measure of the center of the data. Range measures how spread out the data is. You might call this a measure of variation, how much the data varies, okay? Which can also be helpful. If you know where the center of the data is, right, that's kind of like the average, but then if you know the variation, how spread out your data is, you can know how close to the center you are to. Mark, I got to give you one of these here, sorry. Okay.
Wait, so is that the definition?
So, no, that's not the definition. That's what it's categorized as. How do we find the range? Does anyone know how to find the range of a set of data? How to see? Yes, it's the largest value data point minus the smallest value data point, okay? The largest data value minus the smallest data value. Okay, the range. Okay, so it basically tells you, the distance between the highest and lowest value. Okay, so let's take a look here then at number 1, and it asks us to calculate the mean, median, mode, and the range of the data set here. Okay, so again, these particular data points are quiz scores for one algebra class. Okay, quiz scores for one algebra class. Oh, I've seen much worse than that, but yes, it happens. Okay, so to find the mean, we're going to take all these numbers and add them up. Okay, so when you type this into your calculator, do be careful because there's a lot of numbers here. Okay. Oops, I missed it. I messed up already. I can see. Well, I made some mistakes. I can already see here. So let me go back and check. It is like a phone, exactly right. So if you know where the numbers are on the phone, then of course you guys never had to use T9. You guys always had smartphones probably since you learned how to do that. So, what's T9?
I used to have a flip phone also.
Oh, you used to have a flip phone? Did you ever text? Did you text on your flip phone?
I had a slide phone, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you have to text on your flip phone with the numbers?
I actually broke my flip phone because I got really mad.
Uh-huh.
I snapped it.
You're like, if I break the phone, my parents have to buy me a new one, and maybe I'll get a smartphone.
No, they never watched it. My dad bought me this really cheap flip phone, but it was really good.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly good.
So add them all up and then divide by how many there are, right? Divided by the number of numbers. So we have to count that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 18. Divide by 18. And so the mean here is 82 point, and I'll round that to 4. Okay? That's the mean. Another symbol that we use for mean is ooh, what is the symbol we use for mean? Goodness gracious. Now, let me see. Let me hang on one sec. A symbol that's used for mean is this little X with a bar over top of it. Okay? This little X with a bar. That means the same thing as mean. This is a symbol you might mean. And it's actually supposed to be not the letter X, but it's the letter chi in Greek. Okay? And it has a little X bar. So, chi, what's that? No. But we will use it. We will use our calculators to do it. Yes, Sean. We will use our calculators to do it. Yes. Okay. So that's the mean. Now let's find the median. Okay. The median. Now we have to find the middle of the center of the middle of the data. Okay. Now Hannah suggested kind of what's that? There's 18 numbers, so we're going to have 2 when we get down to the middle then, yeah? So let's see here. So I got 52 and 100, then 55 and 100, 63, 99, 68, 98, 70, 94, 77, 93, 78, 92, 83, 89, 85, 87. So the median is going to be between those two. So what's... Right, 86. You add up 85 and 87, divide by 2, you get 86. Or you can also just, that makes sense, right? It's 86. I don't think I have a symbol for the median. No, I don't have a symbol for the median. And then the mode is 100. Okay, now, when it comes to finding these things, right? That's the range. Sorry, thank you.
Isn't that just
100 minus 52, the largest data point minus the smallest, and then it's 48. Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you. Now, the thing about statistics is that while the calculations, that's pretty mathematical. The interpretation of the calculations, that's where there's some nuance or some skill that you kind of have to employ or to use here. Okay. If you look at these 3 measures of central tendency, one of these is not like the other. So, range is not a measure of central tendency. So, just look at your 3 measures of central tendency. Which one of these is not like the others?
Range, because it doesn't have an end.
Okay, sorry. what I'm saying is, so forget range. Range is a measure of variation.
Oh,
okay.
three?
I'm saying of the three measures of central tendency, which one of these is not like the others?
100 because it's way higher.
Yeah, 100. Okay. Now, the mode here, while it can be significant that two 100s occurred, does the mode do a very good job, you think, of describing where the center of the data is? In this particular case. No, right? Because, the center of the data, well, it's like, again, if you look kind of here, like positionally, it's like right in here. 100 seems way too high, for the fact that most of the center of the data there is like in the 80s or the high 70s, okay? So the mode would not be a good measure of central tendency here to use to describe the data set, okay? Then it's up to you to kind of decide whether we use the mean or the median, okay? We typically want to use the mean if the data has no outliers. And then use median if the data has outliers, because the median is less affected by outliers. You guys remember what outliers are?
Numbers that don't add up with the rest, like it may be a lot smaller or not bigger.
Right, so for example, if someone got like a 0 on this quiz, that would be like way out of line with the rest of these scores. Or someone got like a 1000% on the quiz somehow. That would be an outlier. It's way out of line with these scores.
I would love that.
Okay.
Get 1,000 on the next quiz.
Could you get a 1000 on this quiz?
Even if I do that.
We'll see. I have to give you a lot of bonus for something like that. But my point is, right, in this case, since we don't seem to really have any outliers, and by the way, there is a mathematical calculation to determine outliers and stuff like that, we're not going to worry about that right now. Just understand that if it's like really, really big or really, really small compared to the rest of the data, that's probably an outlier, okay? The mean is more affected by an outlier, so that's why we use the mean only if there are no outliers. And then median is less affected by outliers, and so we'll use the median then if the data does have outliers. And then the mode, you can choose to use that too if you prefer. Again, if the data doesn't have, if the data has outliers potentially. Okay? And like I said, there's the range. Now the range, again, that measures the spread of our data, how spread out our data is. Okay, how spread out our data is. So, questions on any of that? All right, let's turn the page here. Let's skip down. Oh goodness, we're not going to be able to do. All right, yeah, let's do number 2. Let's do number 2 here. Okay, number 2 says Erin wants to perform some data analysis on the math classroom next door. She asked all the students their age in the classroom and got the following data. Okay, and again, we want to find the mean, median, and the mode, and of course the range as well. Okay, so what do we have to do to our data to find the mean again? That's right. So we'll just add them up here. And again, I can take care of that just because, maybe you guys aren't. Okay, I get 222 for the sum divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, whoops, caught my paper there. Okay, let me just check to make sure I did add that right. Okay, yep, divided by 15. 14.8 is what I get to. Okay, so there's our mean. Now, what do we have to do to our data to find the median? Just find the middle number, right? Start counting in. Ooh, got to put them in order first. That's right. You got to put them in numeric order first. Ugh. Okay, let's take a look here. So what does it look like the lowest number is that we have?
13.
So I see 2 13. So we'll say 13, 13. So I'll cross off those 2 13. Do I have any more?
15.
And then the next highest after 13.
14.
Okay, I got a 14. That's right. So 14, 4 14s. Okay, yep.
Then 5 15s, 3 16s, and 1 17.
You have to write every single one.
You have to put, yeah, you have to we have to reorder the whole thing.
I thought you only, if there was like more than one, you could only just do one.
No, we have to.
So if it's like 313, just do 113 and then keep going on.
Huh, that's
But
interesting.
13
I
would
never
still be-
heard of it that way. I don't know if that quite works for what we want to do here. I gotta think about that. That might be a different way to do it that I never heard of before, but I don't think it quite
I remember
works.
doing that one time.
It won't be the exact same as this. I'll tell you that much. It won't be the exact same. So, okay, sorry, 4 14s, and then yeah, you said 5 15s. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 15s. And then you said 3 16s and a 17. Okay.
Yeah, you looks like you
So I
want
was
to use
right.
each one once.
No.
So I just tried it. You have to
And
use
it worked?
one once, yeah.
Sometimes that'll work, but sometimes it could be between these two, and then you wouldn't get that. Maybe. I don't know. I have to think about that. Okay. So count into the middle, right? So D, 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 D. So 15. Okay, is our median there? 15. Okay, that's pretty straightforward there. And what's the mode then? What's the mode? What number occurs most often?
15.
Right, 15 occurs most often, so it is the mode. Okay, now, this data looks a little bit better aligned, right? The mean, the median, and mode are really all in very close agreement to each other. 14.8 is very close to 15, and then, of course, 15 and 15 for both the median and mode there. Okay, and then the range, what would be the range here? 4. The data is spread out by 4 there. Okay? Yeah, biggest minus smallest. So it'd be, in this case, 17 minus the 13 there.
What did you find the 17?
17 is the largest data value.
Did you add that?
Nope, it's right there.
Dang, I didn't even see that.
Got him.
Yes, sir.
When you put your numbers in order, you should always count how many numbers there are.
That's a
and
good idea.
How many numbers you came up with to
Mhm.
make
Wait,
sure.
what's the mode? Is the mode the most common?
Most common, most often. How many times? Most often.
Which one is the highest?
Advanced. So I know we're gonna have homework tonight, but some of us here are taking NISA tomorrow, so should we start by and do our homework before we go to NISA?
You can get it to me on Monday or something like that instead too. That's fine.
NISA on Monday.
Oh, I mean Tuesday. I mean, yeah. Which is the Tuesday? Okay, get it to me when you're next back in class. Then I guess we'll see. Mode is occurs most often. Did you write down the front? It's on the front. If you
I know, but and then the median. Okay, so
the middle number. Yep.
I got it. So
Question, Ben.
Oh, we have Monday off.
Monday off for Martin Luther King Day. Yes.
So you get like
And
2,
then
3,
next
4,
Monday's off
5,
too.
Next Monday, no.
15.
Oh, we have like 3 Mondays off.
Yeah, we have a Monday.
Oh, we do. I'm sorry. You guys have next Monday off. We don't pretend, but yeah. Yes, sorry. Ben raises a question for one question.
Question.
Ben's got a question on that. Oh. When are we going to not be here again, Mr. Witt? I don't want to see you, your ugly face. No, that's what Ben's saying to me. That's what Ben's saying to me. When are we going to be here again, Mr. Witt? I don't want to see your ugly face. Okay, so here's what I would like you guys to do. Shh. I'm going to have us hold off. Are you guys familiar with stem and leaf plots? All right, we won't worry about those then. So what I'll say instead is I would like you to forget the stem and leaf part. Just do the mean, median, and mode for number 3. We'll talk about stem and leaf when we come back on Friday.
Wait, number 3 and what?
We're going to have school. We'll have a 2-hour delay.
No, we wanna
Calling
have
it.
school.
2-hour delay.
Last time they said that we didn't have school, so.
Excuse me. I'm not done talking. Excuse me. Number. I want them to ignore that. Guys, hey, back on track. We're not done yet. School is not over. Bell is not rung. I'm sorry I said anything now. Liv. We got stuff to do.
You have to finish this.
Number 3, okay? Ignore the fact that it asks you to do stem and leaf. Don't do that, but do find the mean, median, and mode, please, and the range, all right? And then finally, number 5, I want you to do the mean, median, and mode for this one as well, and the range as well. Okay? But, Mr. Witt, what's the data? Well, it's in the graph. You have to read it out. So in other words, there are 2 zeros, 3 ones, 5 2s, 3 3s, and 2 4s. And you got to write those data points out to find your meaning in your mode, okay?
It works on this one too.
It does? Okay.
It's 5 numbers.
Okay.
So it'd be 2.
Okay. Well, it is 2, but it's not always going to work out that way, I don't think. But in this case, it does. Okay, so just 3 and 5, please. Just 3 and 5, and only the mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, don't worry about trying to make a stem leaf plot or anything. We'll do that on Friday, tomorrow. Keep saying like we're gonna think we're not be here. We will be here tomorrow. We will.
Get up.
Keep saying that, and we're not going to make it tomorrow.
We will.
Now.
I'll see you tomorrow.